David was a young man who lived in a small town. He had big dreams of starting his own business, but he often doubted himself. "I'm just an ordinary person," he thought. "I can't achieve something so big." David worked at a local store, and while he was good at his job, he often felt stuck, unsure if he could ever do more with his life. One day, David's mentor, Mr. Thompson, shared a story that changed everything. "David," he said, "do you know why some people succeed while others don't? It's not about talent or luck. It's about belief. The people who achieve great things believe they can. They see obstacles as challenges to overcome, not as reasons to give up." Mr. Thompson explained that our thoughts shape our actions. If you think small, you'll act small. But if you think big, you'll act big. He encouraged David to start believing in himself and imagining a better future. "Your belief creates your reality," he said. David decided to put this advice into practice. Every morning, he repeated to himself, "I can achieve great things. I have the ability to succeed." At first, it felt strange, but over time, David noticed a change in his attitude. He began to see opportunities where he once saw obstacles. For example, one day at work, the store manager asked for ideas to attract more customers. In the past, David would have stayed quiet, thinking his ideas weren't good enough. But this time, he believed in himself. He suggested organizing a community event at the store with games, discounts, and free refreshments. The manager loved the idea, and the event turned out to be a huge success. David's confidence grew with each small victory. He started reading books and attending seminars on personal development. One of the books he read was The Magic of Thinking Big, which reinforced everything Mr. Thompson had told him. The book taught him that belief is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. One important lesson from the book was about setting big goals. "Don't limit yourself," the author wrote. "Dream big and aim high. Even if you don't reach your exact goal, you'll achieve more than you ever thought possible." Inspired, David set a bold goal for himself: to open his own cafe in town. He loved the idea of creating a cozy space where people could gather, relax, and enjoy great food and coffee. It was a big dream, but for the first time, David believed it was possible. However, believing wasn't enough. David knew he had to take action. He started by researching what it would take to open a cafe. He learned about finding a location, designing a menu, and managing finances. He also talked to cafe owners in nearby towns to learn from their experiences. As David worked toward his goal, he faced challenges. Some people doubted him, saying, "Opening a cafe is too risky," or "You don't have enough experience." But David didn't let their negativity stop him. He reminded himself of Mr. Thompson's words, "Believe in yourself, and others will believe in you too." One day, David shared his dream with a local business owner, Mrs. Garcia, who ran a successful bakery. She was impressed by his passion and offered to mentor him. "You have the right attitude," she said. "That's the most important thing. Let's work together to make your dream a reality." By the end of the year, David had taken the first major step toward his goal. He had saved enough money for a small space in town, and Mrs. Garcia helped him secure a loan to cover additional costs. David couldn't believe how far he had come. Thinking big really works, he thought. It all started with believing in myself. David's excitement grew as he signed the lease for his cafe space, but so did his nerves. The blank walls and empty rooms felt overwhelming. Can I really turn this into a successful cafe? He wondered. Doubts crept in, but he quickly remembered the lessons from the magic of thinking big. Action cures fear, he repeated to himself. The only way to overcome doubt is to start doing. With that in mind, David created a step-by-step plan. He listed everything he needed to do: paint the walls, buy furniture, design the menu, and hire staff. Breaking the big project into smaller tasks made it feel more manageable. Each completed task gave him a sense of progress and built his confidence. One of David's biggest challenges was learning about marketing. He knew a great cafe wouldn't succeed if no one knew about it. So he started researching ways to spread the word. He learned about social media advertising, creating an inviting website, and running promotions to attract customers. To put his marketing skills to the test, David organized a pre-opening event. He invited friends, family, and local residents to visit the cafe space and share their feedback. The event was a success, and people were excited about the cafe's opening. Many guests said they appreciated David's enthusiasm and vision. "This place has potential," one guest said. "We can't wait to come back." Despite these positive moments, there were setbacks. Some tasks took longer than expected, and unexpected expenses came up. For example, David discovered that the plumbing in the cafe needed major repairs. At first, he felt discouraged. "This is too much," he thought. But then he remembered a key lesson. Successful people don't give up at the first sign of trouble. They find solutions and keep moving forward. David decided to adjust his budget to cover the repairs. It wasn't easy, but he reminded himself that setbacks are part of the process. Every challenge is an opportunity to learn, he told himself. To stay motivated, David surrounded himself with supportive people. He continued meeting with Mrs. Garcia, who encouraged him to stay focused on his vision. She shared stories of her own struggles when she started her bakery. "I made so many mistakes in the beginning," she said, "but I learned from them, and so will you." David also joined a local business group where he met other entrepreneurs. Hearing their stories and advice inspired him. One member told him, "Starting a business is like climbing a mountain. It's tough, but the view from the top is worth it." Another strategy David used to stay positive was visualization. Every night before bed, he imagined his cafe filled with happy customers enjoying their food and drinks. He pictured the smell of fresh coffee, the sound of laughter, and the sight of people relaxing at cozy tables. This mental exercise kept him connected to his goal and helped him push through difficult moments. As the opening day approached, David focused on the final details. He chose comfortable furniture, hung local artwork on the walls, and tested every item on the menu. He wanted the cafe to feel welcoming and unique. One of David's favorite additions was a dream board, where customers could write their goals and aspirations on sticky notes. He hoped the board would inspire others to think big and believe in themselves, just like he had. Finally, the big day arrived. David was nervous but excited as he unlocked the doors to his cafe for the first time. To his delight, people poured in, eager to see the new spot in town. They complimented the warm atmosphere and delicious food. "You've created something special here," one customer said. By the end of the day, David felt a deep sense of pride. He had turned his dream into reality one step at a time. It wasn't easy, but the journey had taught him valuable lessons about perseverance, belief, and the power of action. With the cafe open, David faced a new challenge: maintaining success. He quickly realized that running a business required more than just a grand opening. There were daily decisions to make, customers to serve, and problems to solve. It was exciting but also intimidating. One morning, as David prepared to meet with his staff, he felt a wave of self-doubt. "What if I'm not cut out for this?" he wondered. His mind was filled with questions. Could he keep customers happy? Could he manage the finances? Could he handle the competition? David decided to revisit the magic of thinking big. He flipped through the book and stopped at a chapter about building confidence. The author's advice was clear: act the way you want to feel. If you want to feel confident, act confident. If you want to succeed, behave like a successful person. Inspired by this idea, David stood in front of the mirror and practiced his posture and tone. He reminded himself that confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about believing in your ability to grow and learn. "I may not know everything," he thought, "but I'm willing to figure it out." The cafe became David's classroom for confidence. Each interaction with customers was a chance to practice being positive and professional. When someone had a complaint, David listened carefully and worked to solve the issue. Over time, he realized that problems weren't something to fear. They were opportunities to improve. One memorable moment came when a customer gave harsh feedback about the coffee. "It's too bitter," the customer said. David's first reaction was defensive, but then he remembered a key principle. Criticism is a gift when it's constructive. He asked the customer for specific suggestions and used the feedback to tweak the brewing process. The result? More satisfied customers and better coffee. David also faced fears about competition. A new cafe opened just a few blocks away, and he worried about losing customers. But instead of panicking, he focused on what made his cafe unique. He reminded himself of another lesson from the book: believe you have something valuable to offer. To stand out, David started hosting weekly events like poetry readings and live music nights. These events attracted a loyal group of regulars who loved the cafe's community vibe. David also partnered with local artists to sell their work, adding a creative touch that customers appreciated. Through these experiences, David began to understand the connection between action and confidence. The more he faced his fears, the stronger he felt. He also realized that confidence isn't about never feeling scared. It's about moving forward despite the fear. One of David's biggest breakthroughs came when he was invited to speak at a local business workshop. The idea of standing in front of an audience terrified him, but he knew it was an opportunity to grow. He prepared carefully, writing down key points about his journey and the lessons he'd learned. On the day of the workshop, David felt nervous as he stood behind the podium. But as he began to speak, he saw nods of encouragement from the audience. He shared how he started with a big dream, broke it into small steps, and overcame setbacks. By the end of the talk, people were clapping and asking questions. "That was inspiring," one attendee said. "You've motivated me to pursue my own dream." This experience boosted David's confidence in a way he hadn't expected. He realized that his story had the power to help others. Sharing his journey not only strengthened his belief in himself, but also built connections with people who shared similar struggles. As the cafe grew in popularity, David made sure to celebrate every success, no matter how small. He threw a one-year anniversary party to thank his staff and customers. "This cafe is more than a business," he said in his speech. "It's a place where dreams take shape." David's journey taught him an important truth. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build through action, persistence, and self-belief. With the cafe thriving, David began to reflect on how far he had come. His initial dream of opening a coffee shop had turned into a reality, and his belief in himself had grown stronger. But he couldn't help wondering, what's next? Could he achieve even bigger dreams? David revisited the magic of thinking big for guidance. One of the key lessons from the book stood out to him. The size of your success is determined by the size of your belief. This idea resonated deeply. He realized that dreaming big wasn't just about achieving more. It was about staying inspired and always moving forward. He decided to expand his vision for the cafe. What if it could be more than just a local spot? What if it could grow into a brand that brought people together in multiple communities? The thought excited and scared him, but he had learned to trust his instincts. David started by writing down a list of goals for the future. He wanted to open a second location, introduce a line of specialty coffee blends, and create an online store for merchandise. These ideas felt ambitious, but he reminded himself of another principle from the book. Think progress, believe in progress, and push for progress. The first step was finding a location for the second cafe. David toured several spaces, but none of them felt right. Instead of getting discouraged, he used the situation as a chance to refine his vision. He decided that the next cafe should have a slightly different vibe, focusing on eco-friendly design and sustainable practices. While searching for the perfect location, David began working on the other parts of his plan. He collaborated with a local coffee roaster to develop a signature blend that reflected the cafe's unique character. He also partnered with a graphic designer to create a logo and packaging for the new products. The process was not without its challenges. There were moments when David doubted whether he was moving in the right direction. But each time he felt overwhelmed, he reminded himself of a lesson from his journey. Success is a series of small steps. He didn't need to accomplish everything at once. He just needed to keep moving forward. Finally, after months of planning, David found the perfect spot for the second cafe. It was a bright, open space in a bustling neighborhood. The new location offered opportunities to reach a wider audience, and David was determined to make it special. He worked with his team to design the interior, incorporating natural materials and energy-efficient lighting. When the second cafe opened, the response was overwhelmingly positive. Customers loved the cozy atmosphere and the focus on sustainability. The success of the new location boosted David's confidence and encouraged him to keep dreaming bigger. David also realized the importance of sharing his journey with others. He started mentoring aspiring entrepreneurs, offering advice on how to overcome fear, build confidence, and stay committed to their goals. He spoke at community events and wrote articles about his experiences. One day, while reflecting on his journey, David thought about the customers who had supported him from the beginning. He decided to host a Dreamer's Night at the cafe, a special event where people could share their own stories and aspirations. The event was a huge success. Customers and community members came together to talk about their dreams, exchange ideas, and inspire one another. David felt proud to see how the cafe had become more than just a business. It was a place where people could connect and grow. As David's brand grew, he faced new challenges, but he approached them with the mindset he had cultivated over the years. He continued to believe in his ability to figure things out, and he never stopped learning. By the time David looked back on his journey, he saw a clear pattern. Every step forward had been driven by his decision to think big and act with purpose. From the initial dream of opening a cafe to building a thriving business, he had turned belief into action and action into success. David's story is a testament to the power of dreaming big, believing in yourself, and taking consistent steps toward your goals. His journey reminds us that success isn't about avoiding failure or fear. It's about embracing the process, learning from setbacks, and staying committed to growth. As David sat in the original cafe, surrounded by the sounds of conversation and laughter, he felt a deep sense of gratitude. He had learned to think big, and in doing so, he had built a life filled with purpose, connection, and endless possibilities.